Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with another Total War Warhammer video. Today we'll continue with our possible character series in Total War Warhammer 3 for the Demons of Chaos, where once again we'll be looking towards Khorne, this time with Skulltaker. In this video we'll discuss his lore, his rules on the tabletop, and how he could be implemented into Total War Warhammer. So without further ado, let's begin. To better introduce this character to those who might not be aware of him, we'll read over his entry into the Warhammer Fantasy Battles 8th edition army book for the Demons of Chaos. Skulltaker, Khorne's champion, blooded warrior, slayer of kings. The Skulltaker is the Blood God's immortal champion, the greatest of all of Khorne's chosen bloodletters. When not campaigning with his master's armies, Skulltaker roams the realms of chaos at will atop his mighty juggernaut. He appears before fortress and stronghold, bellowing challenge after challenge to the greatest warriors within, until one of their number is foolish enough to meet him in single combat. When a foe emerges, Skulltaker dismounts from his loyal steed, salutes the enemy with an upturned blade, and charges forward to claim another skull in the Blood God's name. Such duels are brief and bloody, for Skulltaker is swifter than the last beat of a shattered heart, and knows every weakness of every enemy. Skulltaker does not slay his foes outright, but shatters their limbs, leaving them helpless. Skulltaker's clawed grasp settles upon his fallen opponent's head. Magical fire gouts from his fingertips, searing away skin and sinew until pale bone is laid bare for all to see. With a single perfect twist, born of long practice, Skulltaker breaks the naked skull free from its spine and tosses it into a coarse woven sack filled with trophies from previous victims. He then bellows his challengers at the fortress once more, striking down any further champions that emerge until no others present themselves or boredom sets in. Mounting his juggernaut once more, Skulltaker departs in a search of fresh foes. Skulltaker is just as feared in the mortal realms as he is in the courts of the dark gods. He is drawn by tales of martial prowess, and rumour of mighty combatants who might offer some small challenge. History is littered with accounts of his appearance before gates of Bretonnian castles, ogre feast halls, elf mansions, Nehekaran necropolises, and dwarf halls, each time demanding that an accomplished warrior be sent forth to face him. Such encounters never end well for mortals. Indeed, in all the legends surrounding the Skulltaker, there is but one account that tells of anything other than his victory. In the Legends of the Empire, Skulltaker battles Sigmar in the World's Edge Mountains for 3 days without pause, but ultimately earns naught but defeat. Skulltaker still bears the scar he earned that day, and he takes great pleasure in repaying the debt on Sigmar's inheritors at every opportunity. Demons have long memories and little desire to grant forgiveness. Over the millennia, Skulltaker's collection of trophies has become so massive as to be beyond counting. While Skulltaker collects skulls from all his victims, it is only those of mighty individuals that he truly cherishes. For with the taking of the skull, he inherits a portion of the enemy's strength. He hooks his most prized skulls, mementos of close fought and satisfactory battles, all onto his cloak. All others he sets upon the parapet of Khorne's brass citadel to watch the approaches to the Blood God's lair. So it is that a demon that has begun existence as a bloodletter has become something to command the respect of the Dark Gods themselves. Skulltaker was very popular in terms of lore, though like every other character in Warhammer Fantasy Battles, they were usually terribly overcosted and you wouldn't see them that often on the tabletop. That being said, his stats were relatively high. He is of course a melee-based character as he is a demon of Khorne, with high weapon skill, strength values and attack values. quite average toughness value however and wounds, but then again you have to take into account that he's still a bloodletter, and those were very glass cannon-y. Skulltaker really didn't have that many special rules or special items. I explained this in a previous video that there were just so many different characters in the 8th edition book that they couldn't really realistically make so many different rules and items for each character. His special rule is known as Skulls for the Skull Throne, which went as follows. Skulltaker must always issue a challenge or accept a challenge if one is offered. Challenges in Warhammer Fantasy, for those not aware, are duels, 1v1 character versus character. Now this could work in one of two ways. Potentially we could see a dueling system implemented into Total War Warhammer 3 in a very similar sense to that of a Total War Saga Troy, where if two characters meet in combat they'll begin to automatically duel, and any NPCs along the area, usually generic units and so on, will form a circle. It's very much in the old style duels that you see in loads of films. And if that's the case, then he would probably just have the duelist trait to be stronger in duels. I'm not too sure what else could be added. Though that being said, if duels come in, wouldn't that mean a lot more animation work? So it's very likely that we won't see this implemented in this way, although I could be wrong. The second could be a way to mark a target before you begin battle with them. Say for example a UI function which would allow you to mark which skull you want to claim for the Skull Throne. Perhaps by marking a target it will grant temporary buffs to Skulltaker in terms of combat against said character, but that's really all I can think of, to be honest. But that's his special rule. With that, he's also got two special unique items. First, the Cloak of Skulls, which would grant Skulltaker a decent armor save value. That's easily translated into Total War Warhammer, of course. And lastly, we have the Slayer's Sword. This weapon gave him the flaming attacks and killing blow special rules. However, whilst fighting in a challenge, it would also grant him heroic killing blow. Now Killing Blow and Heroic Killing Blow are already there in the form of skills, and Flaming Attacks, well, that's already there too. It's easy enough to translate and really doesn't need much more of a discussion. Though, now we can move on as to how he could be implemented into Total War Warhammer. In all honesty, I see Skulltaker as a possible legendary lord. This makes the most sense to me, as if we do end up with Skullbrand, that's already a monstrous lord. We'll need one which is an infantry/cavalry. And since Skulltaker could be fielded on both foot or on a mount, that's all pretty much sorted there. The character itself is a more generic size for legendary lords, so he fits rather well as stated, and as the character himself is a bloodletter, I'm assuming that any buffs, bonuses and so on would focus around bloodletters, mostly in the form of traits and skills to reduce their upkeep and make them more viable in combat. I think that possibly covers everything. The character itself isn't that complex, though seems like an obvious choice for a legendary lord slot. However, I could be wrong and he could end up being implemented as a hero, but what do you guys think about Skulltaker? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's start a bit of a discussion. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel's been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.